Official. Stand by, please. Tommy Boyds. Apparently official.
Have you no compassion?
Stand by, please.
Let's rehang the pictures in the gallery of life.
There's no escaping here.
Morning. The other thing that happened when I was ill last week, I'm 99%, thank you for wondering, is that I watched some telly, lying in bed as you do, and there was a Viking film on, the one with Tony Curtis and Burt Lancaster. And they land, the Vikings land on I think it's the coast of Humberside, actually. It's around about where Hull is now. There was just a few villages in those days, and a castle a ways inland. And they attacked. And the Anglo-Saxons, I guess they were, or were they Normans? No, they're Anglo-Saxons. The Anglo-Saxons fought back. They had defences. They knew how to look after themselves. Not just the men of the village who ploughed the fields for a living. They could look after themselves. But the women of the village, the old men of the village, the old women of the village, the children, everybody knew how to fight. They lost initially, and then they fought back, and eventually they repelled the Nordic invaders. But I got to thinking, you know, if the same thing, or something like that, were to happen again, we wouldn't stand an earthly. You and yours would simply be rolled over, because we've gone flabby, we've gone soft. We've lost sight of something which I think is very important, for man at least, if not man and woman, kind to hold their head up high. We can no longer protect ourselves. All animals, every single living thing is able to protect itself. Everything has defense mechanisms. Ours are withering. They are atrophying, and it's a shame. It damages us, it lessens us, it diminishes us as individuals. Free call 0500 1053 89. I'm not just saying that you couldn't look after yourself, but you couldn't, could you? I'm saying that your community has absolutely no contingency whereby it could conceivably protect itself, not only against the most obvious enemy, which of course is aliens. Now, I don't want to get into the whole UFO thing, because I have strong views which suggest that 99.9% of the speculation about flying saucers and Roswell and the rest of it is so much mumbo-jumbo and hokum. But nevertheless, if a threat is to come, it is probably most, isn't it, that threat will come from another planet. Okay? And if that were to happen, what would we do? Okay? Could we take up arms against a more sophisticated invader? As individuals, the army would do their thing, the navy would do their thing, the RAF wouldn't last 20 minutes, but what would you do? What could you do? What have you got in the house? You've got nothing. Your community is unprepared. You are unprepared. Supposing it wasn't aliens, supposing it was the Vikings, supposing some Vikings slipped through a tear in the time-space curtain, right, and they were coming down your avenue right now. What could you do? We were joking before we came on air, but it's a fact. Your best chance of surviving if you're a bloke is to put on a dress and hope that you're merely taken, as it were. You see my point? We are unprepared. You are unprepared. You can't look after yourself. That damages your self-image, whether you're a man or a woman. Free call 0500 1053 89. You have no training. You have no weaponry. You have no defences. You have no contingency to defend yourself. You are nobody's hero. You stand no chance. Free call 0500 1053 89. And how can we best focus on this? I'll tell you. What have you got under your bed? Yeah, I don't want to know about that. I want to know about the thing that you've got under your bed, because you have, in case you hear something in the middle of the night and have to go downstairs. Exactly. In the United States of America, it will be a Smith & Wesson something or other. A Magnum this or a Magnum that. Or a thing with spikes on the end of it. What have you got? A stick. Exactly. You cannot look after yourself. And something has to be done. What are we going to do? Build walls around our cities and villages again? It's not such a bad idea. Because most burglars are out of town, aren't they? And if we were to lock the city gates at night, all right, and allow nobody in until 6 o'clock the following morning, you would sleep safer in your bed, wouldn't you? In the knowledge that you have taken some steps to protect yourself. Free call 0500 1053 89. It's a fact. It damages us psychologically, and potentially physically. We can't look after ourselves anymore. I'm Tommy Boyd. This is Talk Radio. There's a good argument for listening.
Tommy Boyd.
It's time to waterhole.
Disrespect.
Well, if you can't look after yourself, you've got no self-respect. So you deserve everything you get. Here's John calling from Sheffield. You're on Talk Radio. Hello, John.
Hello, Tommy.
Sir.
All right, mate. Yeah, it's only you English that can't look after yourself, because us Celts, lot, we're well sorted. You know what I mean? Us Welshmen, we can sort it.
You are joking, aren't you?
I am not. The Celts have always repelled everybody, mate.
Well,
Scottish,
look.
Welsh, we sort them all.
If you want to make a geographical argument out of it, John, and I'm very surprised at you Welsh for trying this one, you can't get beyond the simple fact that the English have never been invaded by the Welsh. But I can't remember a time when the English
What am I doing down here in Sheffield, then? I got in. You never repelled me. You don't see many English in Wales, do you?
The English are quite happy to have a few Welsh pottering around doing odd jobs.
We don't do odd jobs, mate. We fish.
You couldn't...
We still run by our basic instincts. We fish.
How old are
we
you?
hunt. We repel the invaders.
How old are you?
I'm 37.
And you think you can look after yourself?
I certainly can.
You keep yourself fit, do you?
No, I'm a short little fat bugger, but I've never been invaded yet.
Where are you living just now?
In Sheffield.
Whereabouts?
On the manor.
On the manor?
Yeah.
Now, what would the manor do if 3 longboats full of Vikings turned up and decided that they were going to rape and loot and pillage, etc., etc.?
Well, the kids would probably jack it up and nick the oars while they were getting out.
Yeah, but you know, you simply know that isn't true. You wouldn't stand an earthly, would you?
I know it's true. Tommy, you ever been to the manor on Sheffield?
These men, in times gone by, they were men.
Yeah, I know.
If they wanted something, they took it. You get your credit card out if we've given you one, have we?
No, mate. No.
No.
I'll set the rotties on them, take a baseball bat to them and sort them.
If you want a woman, you look after her, you seduce her, you send her flowers, you send her chocolates. In times gone by.
Not me, mate, not me. I've been fishing for the last 10 days. She's stuck at home doing washing and housework.
Yes, but you have gone a bit soft, haven't you?
No, mate, no. I've been living under canvas for the last 10 days fishing.
Yes.
In all weathers. It don't bother me.
Fishing?
Yeah.
You can catch a fish so you can look after yourself.
Certainly.
You can protect you and yours.
We can. We never go hungry, and nobody ever would attack my country.
John, thank you for your call. Another John calls now from Nottingham. John in Nottingham, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
You can't look after yourself either, can you?
Not everyone's like that. Funny, actually, because a week ago today I took my cousin's out, and we was talking about burglaries, yeah? And, I said, what would you do? And the stuff that he's got hidden in his house, I don't think the burglar would stand much chance.
What's he got?
Oh, all sorts. Power tools, all sorts. And a 10-stone Rottweiler.
Has he loaded up his house with power tools in self-defence?
Yeah, I'd say so.
What else has he got?
All sorts.
Come on.
Guesses, all sorts.
Yeah?
Yeah. So I think that, he'd be pretty well looked after, wouldn't he?
Yeah, but a contingency like that, John, I mean, I don't know the bloke and I don't want to knock him, but it sounds to me that that's born more out of paranoia than having a sensible plan. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I do.
What have you got under your bed?
Me, under my bed?
Yes, in case you have to go downstairs in the night because there's a noise.
Baseball bat.
Have you really?
Yeah.
Do you know, I should think 90% of the baseball bat sales in this country, I bet the Americans are going, oh, the Brits, they're really taking to baseball. Baseball bat sales are up 400%. Well, I bet 90% of them are sold as weapons, aren't they?
Definitely.
Yeah. So you got it under your bed?
Yeah.
And do you ever get it out and sort of swish it around a little bit, plan how you'd use it if it came to it?
No, I don't.
No.
I'd just go downstairs with bad intentions if that was me, do you know what I mean?
Yes. And have you ever had to take it downstairs?
Never.
Wondering, just, is that somebody?
Never.
No. And if somebody wanted to hop over your fence and have a wander around your garden, not necessarily rape and pillage, but maybe borrow that bucket that you leave lying around.
Yeah.
Again, you're defenceless, aren't you?
Yeah, true.
Your little rickety fence.
I agree.
Yes. And where do you live?
Nottingham.
Whereabouts?
Gregory.
Right. And is your community able to protect itself?
No.
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 Not even against a few light-fingered visitors, correct?
Correct.
Exactly. Well, I mean, do we do something about it or merely acknowledge it and move on?
We've got to move on, haven't we?
I guess. Thank you for your call.
Okay.
Abigail calls from London. Abigail, you're on Talk Radio. Welcome.
Hi, Toby. I have to know who is this imaginary enemy first of all, so I can learn how to deal with my fears.
Yes.
And then I'll try to suss them out.
Yes.
And then after that, trying to find out exactly what it's going to do to me.
Yes.
And then I need to think whether I need to put my life in danger with this horrible creature, or do I have to defend myself against him? And perhaps this alien is going to teach me something interesting.
Well, you see, the West Indians thought that when Columbus arrived.
Well, at the moment you're trying to tell me that there is an alien is going to come to invade our community. I'm going to ask him, what does he want? And perhaps I can try to give what he wants. If he wants to, invade the earth, I'll show him where to go. And also, if he's so nasty, I'll just whisk him away with my magical power.
Yes, I think probably you've got all the protection that you need, Abigail, there, with that rather sort of rich village wall of fantasies with which you've surrounded yourself. No, I didn't want to get onto the alien thing.
Well, yes.
But all the ufologists, what do they call themselves?
Yeah, that's it.
Whenever they pop out of their little holes and start whinging on, they're always convinced that aliens are going to benefit us and that they're going to teach us all sorts of wonderful technology and be benign and friendly, a bit like...
They're definitely different from
in the Spielberg movies. But, you've got to keep your guard up.
Yeah, but they're different from the Earthian creature, aren't they?
Yes.
So I'll probably take my camera and keep on taking some photographs, and then I try to find some huge net and capture the rascal.
Yeah.
And then I'll probably call you and say, come on, Tommy, you teach me how to deal with this problem.
Well, as I said before, it's not aliens I want to concentrate on, really. It's just the notion... Well, look, where do you live?
North London.
Whereabouts exactly?
Islington?
Islington. Now, supposing, and they would have every right to do this, supposing the good citizens of Gorbals declared war on Islington.
They've done it before.
It would be interesting.
They did it before.
I would pay to watch. It would make terrific prime-time Saturday night television. I would love to see it, whether it was fought out in a neutral battlefield or whether they came down in coaches and had a pop at Islington. But they take you to the cleaners' petrol.
I don't think so.
They would.
And also, we don't have any thieves around here. There are really good communities around here.
Don't have any what?
We don't have any burglars.
No burglars?
No. We managed to get some sort of, places like lots of prisons. We have lots of prisons, so we keep them all there.
Free call 0500 10 53 89. It's not that long ago that the cities of England, at least, were at war. And I think the war that lasted the longest, if I'm right in remembering, is the war between Southampton and Norwich, which went on for hundreds of years. It was quasi-religious, but the real reason for it, of course, was economic. And what you effectively had was two merchant empires who were vying for superiority. But, I mean, they were the good old days, weren't they? They were the good old days. Nowadays, the folk of Norfolk, Norwich and Southampton, if they want to see how good they are, they've got to wait until the game takes place, either at the Dell or Carrow Road. And it's not the same. It's not the same. Free call 0500 10 53 89. All these men who go off and do kickboxing and kung fu and the martial arts, we know, don't we, that they are hoping against hope in their hearts that one day they will be called on by the community to use their special skills and turn into heroes. Free call 0500 10 53 89. But they've still got something under their bed in case there's a noise in the middle of the night. There might be black belts, but they can't look after themselves. Andy calls from Oldham. Hello, Andy.
Hey, Tommy, are you well?
Yes, thank you. You?
Yeah, not so bad. Vikings.
I
would fight them hand to hand.
You would you?
I certainly would.
And you wouldn't stand a chance, you know that.
Yeah, but you go down fighting, wouldn't you?
Would you enjoy it?
Yes, I certainly would.
You would, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Reason being, no matter who you are, if you love what you've got, your wife, your family, you would fight.
Yes.
Yeah.
You would.
But whether you're fat, thin, tall, small, you would fight, and I would fight. I've 6 years in the army. I fought for my country, Gulf War, etc. I would fight for mine. Yeah, and I would go down fighting. I would enjoy every little minute of it.
You would. Would you like to have been a Viking?
Yeah, to be honest.
You would, wouldn't you?
All that raping and pillage.
Yeah. Well, no, just the excitement of it, really.
Well, yeah, men were men, weren't they?
Isn't life boring nowadays?
It is.
Isn't it? Isn't it?
Totally.
Hermetically sealed.
Getting nagged by the wife.
Yeah. Everybody furiously trying to keep themselves fit and clean on the inside so that they'll live as long as possible for what?
I don't. I enjoy life to the full.
Did you hope that you might have a glorious, if bloody, death? In part?
Well, to be honest, I crap myself.
Did you? Did you really?
Yeah.
Where was that?
Well, being in the middle of the desert where it's so bleak.
Oh, right.
Yeah. You're stuck in a hole and you could be by yourself, to be honest.
Yeah, wait a minute, Andy. This is holiday tummy rather than naked fear, isn't it?
No. middle of the night, everything moves.
Yeah, but yes.
He either wants to bite you, scratch you, or eat you.
Listen, thank you for your call. Free call 0500 1053 89. I did meet Ian Botham once, and there was a movie on in the corner of the room, and he couldn't wait to watch the end of it. It was Dogs of War, that's it, about mercenaries in Africa. And he couldn't take his eyes off it, and they kept bringing the drinks, and in the end we settled down to watch the big ending with the bazookas. And he loved every minute of it. And you know what he's like. And he said to anyone who'd listened, he said, do you know, he said, if I could have lived at any time, he said, I'd have loved to have been a Viking. And so would a lot of men, and possibly a lot of women as well. Because life is a bit bland, isn't it? A bit bland. We sit around examining our navels. We're wondering if we're going to make it to be 120. For what? Matthew calls from London. Matthew, you're on Talk Radio. Good afternoon.
Hello, Tommy.
Sir.
Vikings. Where do with them?
Yeah.
Run them over.
Yeah,
down the street, you use your... That's a very good point.
You've thought about this. You'd use your car as a lethal weapon.
Yeah, well, they'd be too busy looking where the horse goes, and then they get a replaceable radiator.
Yes, okay, that's fair enough. What do you think is the best make of car to use to defend yourself against
Probably a big, heavy American one.
incoming Vikings? one of those Yank ones?
A big one, yeah. Or a bus or a truck, something like that.
I think he's dropped off the end of the line. To Mark, who calls from Devon. Hello, Mark.
Love you, Tom. Love your show. Love you. I can't get that right, can I?
No.
I wouldn't worry about sort of fighting them. All we got to do is feed them. We got dodgy beef, dodgy eggs, dodgy chicken, and genetically modified grain. A couple of years later, we get all their equipment, and they're gone.
Well, they'll have raped and murdered long before they go down with CJD. You realise?
Oh well, a couple of generations later, but we can sort of put up with that for a little while.
Seriously, if I picked a fight with you in the car park this evening,
yes,
could you look after yourself?
Oh, I hope so, though it's been a little while.
Since what?
Since I've had to look after myself in that way.
What happened then?
I think probably back at school, but I think I won.
Do you know that's the only time when we're equipped to look after ourselves one way or another when we're at school?
Probably right, yep.
It's not the law of the jungle. The law of the playground is much fiercer than the law of the jungle, isn't it?
Yes.
Everybody bullies. Everybody gets bullied a bit.
Yep.
We all do a bit of bullying, don't we, at school? We do.
Well, everyone who says they isn't really telling the truth. If you can bully someone, you get away with it.
I like this. This is so honest. This is so true. There's not one person listening to this show who didn't do a bit of bullying at school. Well, they'll have rationalised it by saying that, I don't know. They were experimenting with social interaction. No, they're not that clever.
True. People who don't... As long as you grow out of it, though.
Huh?
As long as you grow out of it.
What, bullying?
Yes.
Well, do we?
No, not everyone does.
You sometimes do phone-ins about bullying, and people jump on the line and you get these blokes who ring up and say, when I was young, what I did was I beat the bully up. That taught him.
That's being a bully yourself, isn't it?
Well, no, it's living in cloud cuckoo land, frankly, isn't it?
But once you've done it once, then you'll do it to someone else and think, oh, this is fun, I enjoy that.
But we all do a bit of bullying. 90% of parents who I see, end of tether, okay, because their children have had them up all night. But they're bullying their children to do this, that and the other.
Yes, I agree.
Aren't they?
Yes.
Yeah. But where do we get to? Life is bland, isn't it? Compared to the Viking days?
Well, I think we could put up with them for a few years and it'd be interesting. So take some of the best bits out of their culture, and then a couple of generations later, because we're hardy to all this food, we'd be sort of still surviving, and they'd be on their way out. So I think it'd be a...
You got me thinking here. If you were to meet somebody from 1,000 years ago, right, and they had a shave and a haircut, would you know that they were from 1,000 years ago?
No, didn't they do that? A survey, they said take someone from sort of the Stone Age and bring him up sort of in the 20th century, and he'd be just the same as you or something.
Mm.
So there's no difference. It's the way you're brought up and where you're brought up. No difference to them. So we can assimilate them.
Yeah, and just one last thing. What have you got underneath your bed?
Under my bed?
To keep, I mean, in case you hear a noise downstairs, you have to go down in the middle of the night.
At the moment, nothing, because I'm in the middle of moving, and it's in the back of a lorry at the moment.
What is?
My bed.
Yeah, but what was under it?
Nothing.
No, you don't have anything in the bedroom in case you have to go downstairs in the middle of the night?
No.
Seriously?
Yeah. I do have a rather large dog, but I mean, I don't have anything under the bed.
Yes.
But I need. The dog will sort it out.
Mark, thanks for your call.
You're welcome, Tom. Speak to you again.
Hope so. Free call 0500 1053 89. We're talking about the simple fact that nowadays we've all gone soft. Our underbelly is soft. We can't look after ourselves anymore. We don't walk around with swords at our hip as we used to. We don't walk around in 3s and 5s because, well, I used to teach youngsters in New York. They came from an area called Noah's Ark, they called it, because if you didn't go in 2s, you didn't go in at all. Now, we're not like that, except perhaps in some of the roughest parts of Britain. But are the roughest parts of Britain what they used to be? People don't know how to look after themselves anymore. And maybe that's a sign that good things have happened, that the country sorted itself out. But it also means, I think, we've lost a little bit of our pride in ourselves as individuals. Free call 0500 1053 89. Here's James calling from Taunton. You're on Talk Radio, James. Good afternoon.
Hi, Tommy.
James.
How's it going?
Yeah, good. You?
All right. You were talking about wars between counties a while back.
Yeah.
And I think that's a great idea. I think we should bring it back.
You fancy a bit of that, don't you?
Definitely, yeah.
Yeah. What's your county? Somerset?
Somerset, yeah.
Yeah. Do you reckon Somerset could look after itself?
Definitely, yeah. Give the Devon boys a bit of a whipping.
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, anybody can lean on the Devon boys.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, Dorset, I would imagine, would be a pushover, wouldn't it?
No problem, yeah.
Yeah, you could have Dorset. You'd probably stop up short at Cornwall, wouldn't you?
You reckon?
Well, you don't need Cornwall, do you? It's all rocks and fizzy beer.
I guess so, yeah.
Do you reckon Somerset's a bit tasty?
Well, yeah, definitely.
Yeah. But we don't think of you as hard guys in Taunton, you know, in Somerset generally.
Don't you?
No.
What are you Londoners?
Londoners, no. I think you will find that London would say that of all the regions or communities in Britain, if it came down to it, London would be best equipped to look after itself.
That's rubbish.
Oh, you think that's funny, do you?
Yeah, very funny.
Oh, you do you?
Yeah.
Why is that then?
London, you think, are the hardest?
Yes. I think so.
What, all in business suits and...
No, they're not all in business.
Wimpy sort of...
No, they're not all in business suits. No. They're organised. And they're huge. Look, there's 10, 12 million Londoners, mate. How many people are there in Taunton?
Not 10 million.
Well, you see there.
Yeah, but you look at the sort of work people do in Somerset. It's all manual work.
Oh, excuse me, you've got accountants in Somerset, haven't you? Hey?
Yeah, a few.
Yeah, exactly.
But not as much as London. They're just all businessmen.
No, you'll find that that with accountants you have exactly as many accountants per head of the population wherever you are. So obviously there are more accountants in London.
Yeah, but you have more people doing manual work in Somerset than in London.
No, have you ever been on a building site?
Have I ever been on a building site?
On a London building site?
No.
Well, these men would take no prisoners. These are hard men. You might think it's hard tilling the soil these days, but you don't till the soil, do you? You just drive around in a tractor the size of a pub. Yeah?
Yeah, and what about making the hay bales and...
You don't make hay bales anymore. You have a machine that spits out these round things that look like toilet rolls wrapped in black plastic. I do know what I'm talking about.
Do you?
Yes.
And where do you live? London?
No, I don't actually.
On the farm, do you?
Yes, I do actually.
Oh, where's that?
I'm not telling you where that is. What do you want to know that for?
Well, I want to see if you've got any evidence to back up your assumptions.
Back up my assumptions. No, I've travelled. I've made it a point to make sure that I know what's going on in most of the nooks and crannies of British life. Otherwise, you can't do a job like this, James. I'm informed. Yeah. Yeah. And I could take you on any day.
Go on, then.
How tall are you?
6 foot.
6 foot, are you? I expect you play a bit of rugby, don't you, being Taunton?
Definitely, yeah.
Yes?
Yeah, football.
Yeah. 3/4 or in the pack?
In the pack.
Feeble. Done any decent stomping? I think I'd bother you with you, really, James.
I've seen you on your children's TV days.
Yes.
I know you're not made of much, mate.
No, I'd probably only come up to your chin, James, but your problem would be that I would be coming up to your chin far too often. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
We should have a fight sometime. It would be a good thing to do. Have a fight one day, just to see what happens between myself and a listener. An on-air fight. Is it illegal to have a fight? If two parties both agree that you're going to have a fight, if you're a copper, you would know. If two parties both agree to have a fight in a car park, in a pub car park, that's what pub car parks are for. Nobody parks their car full of puddles. But if two people decide to choose to have a fight in a pub car park at 11:15, is that illegal? If so, what crime is being broken? Is being committed? Free call 0500 10 53 89. Len calls from London. Len, you're on Talk Radio.
Hello, Tommy.
Hello, Len.
How are you?
Len, I'm well.
Good.
Thank you for asking.
I don't think people do what they say they're going to do. You don't know until it actually happens. The amount of people that say, yeah, if this happened, I'd do this, I'd do that. And other people say, well, I wouldn't do it. And yet, when it actually happens, when you're confronted with it, you do totally the opposite that you thought you were going to do.
That's probably pretty true, but then how would you know?
You act on your instinct, don't you? Because if they gave out medals for wimps, I would be first in the queue. But yet, something happened to me once, and I had done something totally out of character, something that I always said I would never do.
Mm-hmm.
And my wife, now I will never rely on her, because she's the one that always says, oh, if anybody breaks in here, I'll kill them, I'll do this, I'll do this. The other week, I got up about 2 o'clock in the morning, went downstairs to get a drink, missed the last 2 stairs, and crashed into a table. I was dying at the bottom of the stairs, but it made such a noise, it sounded like somebody had kicked the front door in. The next morning, she said to me, did you hear that bang last night? I went, yeah. Did you? And she went, yeah, I thought something fell over in the bathroom. I said, but that was me, that bang was me, I fell down the stairs. Oh, was it? She just went back to sleep. And that could have been someone kicking the front door in.
Well, it could have been, although those are two slightly different sounds, I think, aren't they? Really?
This was a hell of a noise, Tommy. I smashed into the table, and the table smashed into the wall.
Yes.
It sounded awful. It felt even worse.
And you want a bit of sympathy from that? You do, don't you?
Not really.
This is your agenda here. I can smell it.
If that was me, I would have got up to see what the noise was.
Yes.
I think.
But it's a bit wimpish of us, isn't it? In this day and age, this is the sort of thing that men complain about. These are the kind of battle scars that we will take to St. Peter's Gate when we're dead and gone, you know, Len.
But, no,
a bruised shin from falling down 2 stairs.
Well, it was more than a bruised shin.
We're pathetic, man. We are pathetic.
Listen.
The men of Britain are pathetic. And you have come to the phone. You are living, breathing, pulsating proof of that. Here you are.
I just said I was a wimp, didn't
showing your scars where you missed 2 steps.
A great big bruise on my chest. I couldn't breathe properly.
Glenn, free call 0500 10 53 89. Another Londoner calls. This is John in North London, who I understand is very old and therefore probably could tell a young whippersnapper like Len just what physical hardship is really like. John, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Tommy.
Good afternoon.
What I actually rang to suggest was, do you think you're possibly getting a bit old yourself?
No, not old. Older. But
well, old in your, I meant mentally old, because you talk like, old guys always used to talk when I was young, saying, people aren't what they used to be, blah, 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 all that stuff.
Well, you knew people who knew the Vikings?
Pardon?
You knew people who'd met the Vikings. You are old.
Indeed, yes.
Yeah. No, I think when you're talking about...
I didn't mean old, age. I meant old mentally.
Mentally. No, I think when you compare how things were when the Vikings were around with nowadays, do you suppose we could defend ourselves against the Vikings?
No, but I bet the Vikings had guys like you who said, you should have seen it in my young day. People are not what they used to be, all that stuff.
No, wait, you're misunderstanding. I'm not saying that over the last 10 or 20 years we've ceased to be able to defend ourselves. I'm saying over the last 1,000 years or so we've ceased to defend ourselves. Are you at all interested in history?
A little bit, yeah.
Well, you can see that point, can't you? I mean, you can probably go back to 1939. I mean, we couldn't defend ourselves in 1939 against Hitler, could we?
Well, we had a bit of a go.
Well, we didn't, because he never came over. Did he?
Oh, I see what you mean, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that...
I mean, if he had come over, it would have been 20 minutes, wouldn't it?
No, I don't think so.
Oh, come on. You know it would.
Do I?
15 fully armed divisions the Germans had on the north coast of France. How many fully armed divisions did Churchill have at his disposal?
Well, they're no good on the north coast of France, are they? They've got to be in Britain.
That's my point.
Well,
but if they come across, how many armed divisions did we...
How do you think he was going to get them across?
My point is that my point is very clear. We were unable to defend ourselves in 1939 as a nation. Had Hitler invaded, he would have succeeded.
Oh, had he?
Yeah, that's my point. He didn't.
Why didn't he?
That is my point.
Sorry,
You
I
can't have
don't
my
understand.
point.
Why didn't he then?
You're getting lost. How old are you again?
How old am I again?
Yes.
I'm 70 again.
70, a very good 70, if I may say so. Now, keep up.
How do you mean?
Keep up. The point I'm making is that in 1939, we were unable to defend ourselves.
Well,
Had anybody attacked?
You're talking in sort of hypothetically, aren't you? You're saying that if...
No, I'm not talking hypothetically. We had less than 2 fully armed divisions. That isn't being hypothetical. That's being historically accurate.
Well, that may be.
No, it wasn't as a maybe. That's how many we had. You should...
Well, I mean, but that's not... I mean, I'm not trying to dispute that.
No. What are you trying to dispute?
I'm asking you why, if what you say is true, why Hitler didn't, in fact, invade us.
Well, you want the full version of that, or...?
Yes.
Well, what happened was this, and this is very interesting, okay? Now, you didn't know this. Nobody knows this. But I'm going to broadcast this now for the first time, and this is a simple truth. Hitler offered Britain peace after Dunkirk. He made a broadcast in Germany in which he offered Britain peace, okay? And Churchill needed to buy all the time he could because we were rearming, okay? Because the chaps who made it back from Dunkirk hardly had 2 rifles to rub together, okay? So what Churchill decided to do was to sit on this peace offer for as long as he could so that we could rearm.
If I remember correctly, Chamberlain was the Prime Minister at Dunkirk.
Yes, he was. I've moved on a little bit to 1940 here.
Well,
is that all right?
Dunkirk was in 1940.
What?
Dunkirk was in 1940.
Dunkirk was in 1940,
correct.
Yeah. Well, yes. Are you interested in finding out something new, or...?
Of course.
Right, okay. What happened was the BBC picked up Hitler's broadcast, right? And they rejected his peace offer, right? Without telling Churchill. The BBC declared war on Germany in 1940. Not Churchill. The BBC said no to Hitler's offer of peace. And they didn't even tell Churchill. Did you know that?
No, I didn't.
It's a cracker, isn't it?
Well, yeah. But it doesn't actually answer the question that I asked.
Which is what?
Which is why didn't Hitler invade us in 1940?
Well, it's a long and boring thing. So it has to do with something called Operation Sea Lion, and you know, I don't really like talking. I get bored really talking about the war, don't you?
Not especially.
No.
I'll get bored with your talking about it.
Well, why did you bring it up then?
I didn't.
Have you ever presented the food programme on Radio 4? Is that you?
I beg your pardon?
Have you ever presented the food programme on Radio 4?
No, I've never had the... No.
Honour?
Not me.
Distinction?
No.
Lovely talking to you, John. Thank you so much for your call.
My pleasure.
Bye for now. Free call 0500 1053 89. We're talking about the fact that we can't look after ourselves any longer. We can't defend ourselves any longer. Not just if we wake up in the middle of the night and there's somebody downstairs, what do you do? But as communities, we can't defend ourselves. We used to have city walls, and that's a great idea. If there was a 15-foot wall around your housing estate right now, and people who didn't live in your housing estate were not allowed to be there from, say, dusk until dawn the following day, you would sleep easier in your beds. You would feel like a proper community, which is what we want, which is what we need. But it's all gone to pot. And so have you. We've all gone soft. Free call 0500 1053 89. I'm Tommy Boyd. This is Talk Radio. There's a good argument for listening. And it's a beauty. It's a hardwood one. It's hardly a plastic rubbish. It's absolutely gorgeous. But I'm going to be paying for it until February 2000, so keep listening. Ian's on the line from South London. You're on Talk Radio, Ian.
Good afternoon.
Oh, all right, mate.
Yeah, I'm fine, thank you. You just said something very, very, very stupid indeed about Hitler, and you said that we should have made peace with him. Why did you say that?
No, I didn't say that.
Yes, you implied that.
No, I didn't even imply it.
Well, what did you mean then?
I mean what I said, which is not what you heard. What's the matter with people in South London?
I got the very clear impression.
You wanted to misunderstand. Otherwise
no, I didn't.
Yes,
no.
you did. Yes, you did. Because people like you like the idea that people in broadcasting aren't as clever as you. Well, we are.
Hello?
Hello? Go on, tell me a dodgy car instead.
Okay, now listen. So
Yes,
you're saying, let's get this clear.
Yes.
You're saying that we shouldn't have made peace with Hitler. Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm not saying anything like that at all.
Then
I'm just feeling in.
I'm just. Make yourself clear.
I am clear.
What were you saying?
It's just that you
should we have made peace with Hitler or not?
You listen dyslexically.
Listen, should we have made peace with Hitler or not? What are you saying?
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I rang up, because you're an idiot to say that.
No, you see, I only said that because you wanted me to say that. Oh, honestly. So frustrating sometimes, isn't it? He wasn't listening at all. What happened was, Hitler offered peace to Britain, and Churchill was going to use a week to buy time by simply not responding to Hitler's offer of peace. And he would have had a week. It only took us 3 weeks to rearm 13 divisions. They needed rifles, they needed lorries, that's all. We gave them those ammunition. In 3 weeks, keep your head down, keep stum. But the BBC took it on themselves to accept Hitler's offer of peace instantly. The broadcast happened at 8:30, and the BBC broadcast a rejection of Hitler's peace offer at 9:30, without even asking the Prime Minister. The BBC are very nearly the reason why you might have been speaking German and God knows what else. And free call 0500 10 53 89. And I think it would have been sensible of Churchill to say, well, yes, this peace offer does seem like a good idea. Let's talk about it. That would have given him the 3 weeks he needed to rearm the country. That's politics. That's war. Churchill could look after himself. Eddie calls from Newcastle. You're on Talk Radio. Eddie.
Hello, Tommy.
Eddie boy.
Right, you reckon we can't look after ourselves against invaders?
Well, I didn't say the Geordies.
Changing your mind, eh? That's what I mean. I mean, we've been invaded plenty of times. The Geordies, you see, the jocks. Sent them back.
If it boiled down to it, I reckon a coachload of Geordies would just about beat a coachload of anybody from anywhere else.
We sent the Scottish back. We sent the
Romans,
basically down to York.
The Romans.
The Romans couldn't take us. The biggest armies in the world.
You see, the Scots like to say that the Romans got as far as Scotland and realised that their luck was going to run out shortly, but that isn't true.
Well, they only got to Wall's End.
They got to Newcastle.
Why Wall's End, Newcastle? They didn't get any further. You know, they didn't get West Newcastle.
They got to Newcastle, and that was when they began to realise they were on a sticky wicket.
Exactly. Couldn't defend themselves. They couldn't defend themselves because of the river.
Have you ever met a Geordie who couldn't defend himself?
Nope.
No, you never will.
Never will.
They never made one.
Exactly.
And the reason for this, Eddie, is, and I'm a sociologist, remember, is that you are a tribe.
Exactly.
You're not a town. You're not a city.
Yep, tribe.
You're a tribe.
It's tribe. From the borders down to North Yorkshire, that's us.
Absolutely.
And across into Cumbria, that's us.
I've got Simon, who's called from Weston, who'd like a quick word with you. Eddie, I'm sure he just wants to pay homage to your...
Sure.
Simon, you're through to Eddie. Good afternoon.
Yeah, hi. Eddie, Geordies, mate. We kicked you 1,000 years ago. Came over and basically kicked your asses.
When?
1,000 years ago. We came over in 940.
From where, Western-super-Mare?
Denmark. Denmark.
That would be in history books to be taught that at school. Like.
No, I don't think they came over from Western-super-Mare, Eddie, but I think Simon's point is a reasonable one, and that is that the Vikings did actually turn you over.
Oh, the Vikings?
Yes.
No, they did for a while. They did York.
Yeah.
But they didn't come very far up, did they?
Yeah. No, but a lot of them liked it. They stayed and they
stayed and gave up and fought on our side. So
they bred.
That's our victory, you know. It's in us. It's our victory.
Eddie, it was an honour to have you call.
Right. Cheers, Tommy.
May you live forever. The choice, of course, being a Geordie is entirely your own.
A free call 0500 10 53 89. I'm Tommy Boyd. This is Talk Radio. There's a good argument for listening. Free call 0500 10 53 89. We must talk to Louise. She's called from Devon. Hello, Louise.
Hello, Tommy.
Welcome to Talk Radio.
Oh, thank you. I just wanted to tell you that I'm sure I would be able to defend myself.
Yes?
Because I've got a First World War bayonet under my bed.
Now, what are you doing with that?
Oh, it's to defend myself
Where
if
did you-
anybody crosses my territory.
That's fair enough. Is it on the end of anything?
No.
Doesn't it have to be a
No,
bayonet?
it's got a handle
Has
to
it? I didn't know that.
I've inherited this thing from my late husband, who got it from his father
Right.
during the First World War.
Has it ever been in anybody, as far as you know?
No, no.
I only
As far
asked.
as I know, there's no bloodstains on it.
No, well,
if
you'd
that's
wipe it.
what you mean.
You'd wipe it down afterwards, wouldn't you?
Oh, yes.
You would. And has anybody?
I just wonder if I could really,
If you
have
could.
the guts to push it into someone. But I
Well,
think I would.
You don't have. It's not just a matter of pushing it in, you know.
Oh,
No.
what's it then?
Don't you know how? Well, I was trained in armed combat.
Oh, no,
so,
I haven't
do you know
had
what
any-
you have to do?
I haven't had any training. I just get absolutely inflamed and mad.
Yeah.
And the thing that would inspire me to that would be thinking about you very often.
Oh,
because
right.
I think you are the most self-opinionated young man I've ever heard.
That's very kind of you. Thank you.
Yeah.
I appreciate that very much indeed. You've no idea what a glow that brings to all my cheeks.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
What you have to do is you have to stick it in and you have to twist it.
Yes,
You have to twist it.
yes.
This is what they were trained. Your father's father was trained to stick it in and then twist.
Oh, I see.
Because if you just stick it in and pull it out,
Yes.
that doesn't do too much damage.
Oh, and he'd come at me.
You
with
stick-
blood spurting out.
No, not much. You put it in, right, and then they were taught to twist it through 90 degrees.
Oh, well, thanks for telling me that.
And
I
then-
think common sense might have made me do that.
Anyway, I hope you never need to use your bayonet.
Oh, I hope not either, Tommy.
Nice lady. Couldn't do it, could you? I couldn't. I couldn't, actually. I know, life depended on it, your wife and children's blah, blah, but the things that people did so that we've got what we've got today, I don't know, whatever that is. Hector is on the line from North London. Hector, welcome to Talk Radio.
Hi, Tommy.
Sir?
How are you?
I'm still well, you?
Good, good. Very
Yeah.
well, thanks. I'd just like to say that I think the Scots are a lot harder than the Brits. Even though I was born here in England,
Yes.
I think the Scots are a lot harder than we are.
It's true.
I think they fought us off for ages. I mean, I've
Yes.
watched Braveheart and all that,
Yes.
and I think they're great. I think they're smashing, superb fighters.
They've got the lot. They even speak better English than the English, you know.
I don't know
nowadays.
about that, but I'm sure that they are a lot harder than we are,
Yeah, they are.
and they definitely put up a better fight.
There's no doubt about
I think
it.
the Brits depend too much on the Americans nowadays.
Yes.
I think if there ever was a war, we'd say, oh, well, we'll get the Yanks involved and that's it,
Absolutely.
I think we need to learn how to defend ourselves a bit better. I'm actually Spanish, you see.
Are you?
Yeah, my parents are both Spanish, and I think we're a lot better equipped.
Do you know, I've got to say this to you, since we're talking about these things, you being Spanish. I've got to say this to you.
Yeah.
Having been to Spain many times and seen the Spanish going about their business being Spanish, I can never work out how you manage to have such a huge butt-kicking empire.
What's that?
Well, you just don't look scary.
No, we're not.
You're not, are you?
We're not.
You're
We're very
not.
short, very small people. But
Yeah.
we have the best thing you can have in a fight, Tommy. I honestly believe it.
What's that?
I think aggression.
The
Aggression is...
Spanish aren't aggressive.
We are.
You're not.
Don't forget to subscribe and like. Comment too if you wish. Even slap your legs and make a purchase from Ann Summers. But don't do nothing.